the development of the bioengineering department in 2002. Can you maybe use that as a little bit of a case about what you're describing on how you get these disciplines to cross?
So it is an interesting story, and it started long before I was dean. And so when John was dean, he convened a study group, and I'm sure when Jim Gibbons was dean, he had a study group. And the question was, what, if anything, should Stanford do about being involved in this biotech revolution? Rightly or wrongly, the conclusion I came to was the following: if you look at all of the existing engineering departments at that time and ask what are their scientific underpinnings, they are physics, mathematics, and chemistry, and not biology. And so you say, well, that's interesting. I mean, why is biology not an underpinning of engineering departments in terms of how they think about problem solving and everything else? And if you think about that a little bit, then it's not hard to come to the conclusion that physics, chemistry, and mathematics are quantitative sciences. You can write equations, you can develop models, you can predict the results of experiments in all those fields. And so engineers can use that kind of scientific understanding. You know, they can design an engineered system and it'll work, you know, because the models that come from physics and chemistry and math are solid, the deep understanding is there. Then you could convince yourself, and I guess that's what I did, that biology was going to get there. And the developments in the human genome, the developments in understanding cellular function, the scientific basis of life, and so on, all that was going to lead, you know, sooner or later to the kind of quantitative science that math, physics, chemistry has provided for a century. So I got convinced that if that's even partly true, then we need somehow to bring biology as a science base into the School of Engineering. And I didn't think that was going to happen in our existing departments. Then Phil Pizzo arrived at Stanford as the medical school dean. Phil and I hit it off like that, and we saw the world the same way. It turns out we're exactly the same age within 2 days. So we learned this about each other. We were both runners and so on, so we had a lot in common to talk about. But we convinced each other that it might be worth thinking about a department which was jointly managed by the medical school and the engineering school. So we sort of floated this idea, and you know, these things never come to convergence in a university environment unless you push it. Phil and I convened an off-campus 1 or 2 day retreat, and we invited 20-ish faculty from med school, from the engineering school, all the players that had been involved in this. And we just basically said, we're not leaving this room until we have a plan that we are all agreed on and excited about. And what came out of that was an enthusiasm for exploring this joint department between medicine and engineering. Phil and I went and talked with Hennessy and Etchemendy about this and presented this plan to them, and they were bubbling over with enthusiasm. If you've got 2 deans that are interested to try something really new, you got a bunch of faculty who are willing to do it, even if it took us a lot of time and effort to get there, then maybe it's worth trying.